Well, here we are, week 4. Uh, Today was your day off. Hopefully, you took that advice. Anytime you see something red on the calendar, make sure that you are both mentally relaxing and physically relaxing. Really, the only thing you should be doing on these red days is getting some stretches in. So make sure you guys are using these days off. Even though you're going to want to work out, don't do it. Take the rest. You'll thank me later because there's not many of these going forward in the plan. So make sure you guys use these breaks. So here we are, week 4. As you guys remember me saying in the beginning, the way this plan works is it goes 3 weeks at a little bit higher intensity, and then that 4th week is a little bit more of a rest week, and then it's back up to 3, down on the 4th, up for 3, down on 4. So as you see, this is week 4, so this is one of the lighter weeks, which works perfectly with Galena on Saturday. I know this works out, again, I believe in week 12 with Muncie. So I would like to say that it's just superior coaching or luck, one or the other. It's up to you which one you think it is. But so going into this week, like I said, a little bit lighter load. We get back into the pool on Wednesday and Friday. And then I know all of us will be heading up to Galena on Friday afternoon, Friday evening. So I wanted to give you guys a couple things to work on. You know, every week I try to have a different topic. And this week's topic actually works perfectly with Galena coming up, and that is the topic of hills. As you guys know, Madison is going to be, the bike course is known as being one of the most difficult courses in the world. And when I say, I shouldn't say difficult, I really should say most challenging, because as long as you prepare for it, it won't be that difficult. But it's always going to be challenging just because it's nonstop ups and downs and lefts and rights and things like that. So the way we're going to prepare for that with this plan is going forward from this day on. I want you to attack every single hill that you come across in training. So that would be on all the bikes and all the runs. When you come up to an incline, you simply attack it. You don't need to go zone 5 on me, but you really want to look at that zone 4. And by doing that, unfortunately, we are in the western suburbs, so we don't have the most hilly terrain. So when we come upon a hill, we really need to use it to our advantage and train hard on it. And what that's going to do is that by the time we get to Madison, our technique will not be to attack hills. At that point, it's going to be to ride very steadily on the hills. And I'll kind of get into some specifics here in a second. So only in training, we're going to attack every hill. That means on the bikes, stand up if you need to. We really want to rock these hills and use it to our advantage. Now, on game day, on the day of Ironman, and any time that we're up in Madison, that situation goes out. So we will not be attacking hills anytime we're in the city of Madison. So the way we're going to climb the hills when we're there, we're going to try to follow 5 guidelines. The first one is to always position yourself a little further back on your saddle. Focus on keeping your upper body relaxed. So it's no longer that rocking back and forth like you would when you're standing up and really attacking the hill and cramming down on the pedal. So you want to sit back in the saddle, relax your upper body, so no rocking, and you want to make sure that you're doing full pedal circles. So of course, hopefully you guys know you're not supposed to just push on the pedal. You're supposed to push, pull, and make it one continuous circle. So you really want to make sure that as soon as you get onto these hills, you're using these 5 things to your advantage to make sure that the hill is being climbed the most efficiently. And then the 5th one is proper cadence. So I wasn't real clear there. So the first one is sit back in the saddle, keep the upper body relaxed, no rocking back and forth, full pedal circles, and making sure that you're using the proper cadence or the proper gearing. The last thing you want to be doing is pushing a hard gear up these hills. We want to make sure that we're spinning real nice and easy to make sure that we're using our energy the most efficient way. The other thing you're going to see in Madison when we're up there, it's absolutely crazy. You're going to see it all the time. One, people are going to go flying up the hills, and that's both when we're at the camp and when we're riding the course and on the day of Ironman. It's just going to drive you crazy that people are just not being coached and they think they're doing the right thing and that it's like the Ironman thing to do, and it's absolutely the most crazy thing because you're going to either A, pass them later on in the course, either going down the hill or later on, or two, you will pass them on the run. I guarantee you they will be the ones either walking or crawling by the time we get to the run course. So the other thing is you want to make sure that when you're climbing the hill that you're climbing nice and steady, and then as you get to the top, you pedal over the hill and continue pedaling down. It's amazing how much time you're going to pick up versus the people that go hard up the hill, get to the top, and just kind of let it teeter off and then kind of coast down the next. That is not a strategy we're going to use. We're going to keep the steady pedaling up the hill, over the hill, and right back down. And we're going to see more efficiencies, faster times, and it's also not going to allow the time for your legs to build up lactic acid as they're not moving. So we're going to make sure that keeps the legs pumping. So those are the different strategies. So remember, keep those 5 in mind. I'm going to review them one more time in case you don't have a piece of paper in front of you. First one is sit back in the saddle. Second one is keep your upper body relaxed. Third one is no rocking back and forth. Fourth one is pedal in full circles. And then the fifth one is to make sure you've got the proper gear in the proper cadence. So that is your tip for the week. We'll be going into more detail with that at the camp when we're later on in July. So looking forward to Galena this weekend. There's not really a whole lot you can do at a sprint race or at Galena to prepare you for Ironman. So really, first thing, let's just have fun. I think it's going to be a good weekend. It'll be the 4 of us racing, and I believe there's also a couple from the Vaughn Center that we've swam with in the past that are going to be there as well. So we'll try and link up with them maybe for dinner or for lunch afterwards. So a couple of things that I'm going to have you guys work on are self-talk cues. These worked very well for me in college. So one of the things, like when you're standing on the beach ready to go in the water, there's 2 things that I want you to work on in the swim that I've been telling you guys pretty much for the entire year, and that's bilateral breathing and to focus on good form. So as you're standing on the beach, instead of thinking about what you're going to have for lunch, just keep saying over in your head bilateral breathing and good, strong form. And then you'll be surprised on how well you're actually going to execute that once you get into the water. Because this is our first time in open water in several months. So I think it'll be nice to see, 1, to see where we stand, and 2, to keep working on race day functions that we'll need to use in the Ironman race. Once you get over to the bike, I have to stay in the saddle on the climbs, so kind of practice those 5 points that I just told you, and to make sure you're staying aero. I've said it before, staying aero is free time. The more you sit up, the slower you're going to go and the more energy you're going to use. So try to stay aero as much as possible. And when it gets to the run, the run, focus on good form and just have fun. Bring it in. It's a great way to finish the triathlon on a good note. And then afterwards, we'll go grab lunch and grab a beer and celebrate our first race as a team. So that's really about it. Other than that, let's just, the only other things you could really prepare for is trying different pre-race dinners and things like that. If you want to start experimenting with different foods, whether you're thinking about doing like a grilled chicken breast with plain pasta. I know you may not be putting too much thought into a sprint race, but you know what? Butterflies are the one thing that we can't mimic in training. The only time butterflies are going to come are during actual races. So the morning of, maybe start experimenting with what you think you're going to do, eat it at Ironman. Maybe it's going to be a cup of oatmeal. Maybe it's going to be a power bar. Maybe it's going to be Accelerate or water or Diet Coke, who knows, or coffee. So let's maybe start practicing some of those things once you actually have the butterflies in your stomach, as well as what you're going to have maybe down at the water before you get in, whether it be a gel or just even water. So that's really the only other thing we can work on. So I'm looking forward to this weekend. I think it's going to be a good time. We got a little bit different course this year. So I think it's going to be a good time. Hopefully you guys are happy with where you're at. We got a lot of training ahead of us, but really good things are to come, guys. See ya.